This is my favorite. So I have become an unwilling expert on the following topic, and we're going to do a at least one podcast, try to encapsulate it all into our explanation. But this next topic is viruses. Of course, the imprint happens to all of us. These contagious diseases, within our families or our classmates, we've all been through it. Colds and flus, chicken pox, measles, mumps, whooping cough, on and on and on. Everybody has been taught that the reason they caught the cold or the flu or the chicken pox was that there was, of course, an invisible, impossible to see, damage causing, sickness causing thing called a virus. And we get that explained to us by our parents, friends, our teachers, just like all the rest. So it's an early belief imprint.
Mm-hmm.
So the model for these lovely little things that I like to call unicorn viruses, by the way. These are.
So you gave those examples. I didn't just mishear, did you? Did you mention chickenpox, colds, flus, whooping cough?
I did.
Sorry. I must have just been thinking ahead and zoned out. I'm sorry.
Tuned it out. All good. So these unicorn viruses are supposed to be these microscopic, nanoscopic germs. We'll deal with that word today. They're invisible, but they some viruses, right? Not all, spread from person to person through the air. And what they're alleged to do, even though I'm not going to go there, what they're alleged to do is they're able to get into our bodies, invade our cells. They don't have a brain or a will, or a heart, nothing. But somehow they're able to trick our cells, right, into replicating more of them. This is the story. When you really dive deep down into this, you'll begin to see the ridiculousness of this claim. But others transmit through blood, through the skin. There's a lot of different alleged vectors of transmission for some of these other ones. And of course, we're taught that we have a thing called an immune system, which has to defend us against these and defeat them. And that's the only way we're able to survive these attacks.
We're like at war with the evil outside trying to get into our bodies and kill us.
Right. Germ warfare is what we can call that, right? A lot of different systems of warfare we're under. Germ warfare is one of them. So, of course, your way to defend yourself is, of course, to get the vaccine, the cow shot, as it were. So now we get to the challenge aspect of this. And again, can only briefly touch on this today, but I'll start by saying that there is no thing or entity that's ever been found in the real world called a virus, like in the fluids and tissues of a sick person, for example. No virologist, microbiologist, or scientist can find this thing. They have to be manufactured through a couple of different methods. And what's manufactured, I contend that it's just basically cellular particulates, broken down cells. So further, because of some ingenious telescope inventors whose lives have been destroyed, therefore their technology is not in use today, no one even has the opportunity to see this alleged process of the cell, attaching to the virus attaching to the cell receptor and breaking into the interior of the cell and then replicating itself. So you can't watch this happen today, right? With modern technology that's used in labs. So this is something that is alleged, but it's not provable. And lastly, I'll just say that there are explanations. It would be a whole different podcast to go through these that explain what is actually happening. And I can't tell you how many times I've talked to people about this, and they don't see any other possibility other than a virus. This belief imprint is that deep that they cannot imagine any other possibility. which is
Right.
fascinating.
Yeah.
I may have been in that spot too, right? It did, because how else could it happen? My wife came home and she was sick, and 2 days
Then
later
I
I
was
got
sick.
sick. Right? How
Yeah.
else? What else could it have been? So
Yeah.
it's a really, really, really difficult thing to accept. No question about it. The first time you hear about it, it's absolutely impossible to accept it. I agree. I certainly didn't accept the idea the first time I heard it. So,
Right.
perhaps one of the biggest reactions you get from people is, well, you're an idiot because I know viruses are real because of, countless stories of me, my friends, my coworkers passing and catching the virus. So that's the end for some people. There's no need to delve into this one any further because they're certain that this is what's happened. And I guess I already hit that one there where there's no other possibility for why I got sick. And lastly, right, the reaction, if people go a little bit deeper with this, is there's just no way all these expert virologists could be wrong. Somebody would have spoken out by now. And actually, there is one person that did. So, any added comments or thoughts on the great virus illusion?